Speaker, my question is to the Minister of Finance and asks, does he agree with the Prime Minister's concerns in relation to foreign ownership of New Zealand land that, quote, there is so much wealth out there that they could literally buy New Zealand's productive base, end quote? If so, will he be tightening current foreign ownership rules around the sale of land?
The Honourable Bill English.
Mr Speaker, yes, I do agree with the Prime Minister. New Zealand is a small country with small asset base compared to any number of other countries or even very large overseas investors. With respect to the current rules around the sale of land, there are a significant number of tests in the Act itself. The OIO tests incoming investment against about 20 factors in relation to sensitive land. That was a piece of legislation, I think, that was supported by the Green Party when it was passed by the previous government. With respect to our review, you'll just have to wait and see.
Supplementary.
Dr. Russel Norman.
Thank you, Mr Speaker. Does he see any contradiction between the Prime Minister's concerns about a foreign buy-up of New Zealand land and his meeting earlier this year with the lawyer for the Chinese company trying to buy the Crayford Farms, a meeting where the Minister was seeking advice from the lawyer on changing our foreign investment rules?
The Honourable Bill English.
No, Mr Speaker, and the member has tried many times to make a conspiracy out of that particular discussion. The government has been quite open with the fact that it was looking at whether there were ways of speeding up and reducing the cost of the approval process. We've made some gains in that respect, but that was in the context of a review where we were quite openly said we want to ensure that this is a process that can work for investors at the same time as addressing the valid concerns New Zealanders have about foreign investment.
Dr. Russel Norman.
Thank you, Mr Speaker. In light of the Minister's openness on this issue, will he consider widening the list of advisers on the review of the Overseas Investment Act beyond the technical reference group, given that this group is stacked with lawyers working on behalf of firms such as China's Natural Dairy Company that's trying to buy the Crayford Farms?
The Honourable Bill English.
Well, Mr Speaker, the problem with the member's position is that he objects to the government talking to anyone who actually uses the Act. And it would be ridiculous to review the Act without talking to the people who use it. That involves lawyers, investors, and I might also point out a large number of New Zealanders who sell their assets to foreign owners and do so voluntarily. We've consulted with a whole range of people who use the Act.
Dr. Russel Norman.
Thank you, Mr Speaker. Can he provide us with the names of people he has consulted with who wish to strengthen the overseas investment regulations rather than weaken them?
The Honourable Bill English.
Well, Mr Speaker, I've spoken with a lot of people who want to strengthen the Act, so many that I couldn't actually give the member a list of names.
Dr. Russel Norman.
Thank you, Mr Speaker. Does he agree that if we sign trade deals with countries such as China to get access for our dairy products into the Chinese market and then sell all our dairy farms to Chinese interests, then we are mugs?
The Honourable Bill English.
Well, Mr Speaker, that is hypothetical. New Zealand, as far as I know, hasn't sold all its dairy farms to the Chinese government.
Question number 3, Todd McLeay.